Hello Goblins, it's me, Andy, aka the Dump Cobra from Geek Curio, and today I'm going to be talking about caring for your airbrushes and learning from mistakes. So I believe the best way to learn is to learn from your own mistakes. However, that does tend to be an expensive way to learn in the way that we do the hobby. So I thought today, why not learn from mine? So the first thing I'm going to go on about is the biggest mistake that everyone seems to make, everyone I know an airbrush will need to make, is when you get your airbrush, you get an itty bitty spanner. It's an itty bitty spanner for God knows what. I tell you what this spanner is for. If I remove the cap, there is a little nut on the end of the needle which will fit this spanner. And the advice that I will give you is do not over tighten this nut because it is a tiny bit of metal and your spanner will twist that off. I don't know how to fix an airbrush when you've done that. So that's the best piece of advice I will give you for now, hopefully in this video anyway, among some other things. So don't do that because I've done that. The guy who recommended this airbrush compressor did that. And the guy that I recommended this airbrush compressor to did that as well. So, and like I say, I had no idea how to fix an airbrush when you do that. So don't do it. You've been warned. But I'll go over cleaning and some other things with this on the video as well today. Clamp, which is good just for holding airbrushes. I normally work with 3 at a time. So this actually holds 4. You do get one that holds 2 in the air compressor if you go for the air compressor, and that's useful, but you would need to screw it down to a surface in order to use it properly. Okay, so then just going on to the parts. When you're cleaning an airbrush, first thing you want to do is basically empty it out from the top. So literally just turn it over. You can return paint into a bottle, and then give it a good scrub around with like a bit of kitchen towel or maybe a Q-tip or cotton bud, and that will hopefully get most of the paint out. The next thing you want to do is add a small amount of water and reconnect the hose, and then place a finger on the end and run some air slowly through it. This will cause bubbles, and that basically cleans the front of it. Another thing that's useful to do is you can unscrew the back of this, and this will expose the needle. Now there's 2 parts to unscrew. I would actually go with the end one first, because that will actually loosen the needle and you can pull that straight out. I'd wipe that down with a bit of cloth. If you can get some airbrush cleaner, that's probably good as well. I've also been known to clean these with isopropanol. And what that will do is basically get any paint off there. I'd probably run some air through the front again. And once again, you're getting loads of bubbles. And I'm also making a hell of a mess. So I'm just going to put that needle back in. And that is the main way that you clean them. I mean, to be honest with you, the important thing is to get the paint out from the top rather than trying to force all the paint through the spray nozzle end, because you'll be wanting to run that until this goes clear. So keep changing the water, keep having your finger over the nozzle, and keep pushing air through it, and that will eventually clear the airbrush. Now, as I showed you earlier, I actually unscrewed the later, or the more outer screw which holds the needle in place. I don't recommend unscrewing the main bit. Again, this is a mistake that I did when I first decided to clean my airbrush, although there are times when you probably will want to do that. So what this bit does, it literally removes the entire mechanism. So I am going to take it apart now because I have made this mistake a few times, but just so you can see where you possibly might go wrong. If you have too much, you might find yourself needing to do this if you leave paint in there overnight. Again, this is something that I have done, but basically that removed the entire mechanism, not just the needle, but basically the spring and the bit which helps keep this in place. And trust me, putting this back together again is a nightmare, which is something I'm probably going to do off camera so you don't have to deal with that. But yeah, that's me for now. Like I say, I do recommend getting some airbrush cleaner. It is really, really good. I have heard people suggest that you use Windex or window cleaner. I have tried that and it's absolute garbage, so I wouldn't even bother. But airbrush cleaner, the proper stuff from Vallejo will work. Isopropanol as well. So if you're the sort of person who has a lot of that on hand, that's really, really useful. Definitely use that. Don't leave the airbrush soaked in water. That's another mistake that I've made because it will rust. I have actually managed to repair a fully rusted airbrush, but it took a long, long time, so I don't recommend doing that. And that's it for me. Just to make it clear, no one is actually paying me to do these videos. I'm just doing this all on my own back at the moment, and this is mainly for Michael Mordor's Goblin Army, of which I am a Patreon of. So hi Michael, and thanks to all the other goblins. Take care and be safe. Bye bye.